Hey folks, I just wanted to add just a quick little prelude to this, just because it ended up going a little longer than I had assumed. This video you can probably just listen to it, very similar to like a podcast or something, not to be confused with my actual podcast, which there's a link to in the video description if you're interested. But you can just listen to it. You don't necessarily have to watch if you want to watch me talking, and there is some visual reference, of course, to be found. That's totally fine, but yeah, most of this is just speculation on my end. And anyways, I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Whew, today is, man, there's some crazy stuff going on today. We got 5v5 Grand Arena starting, which is great. I'm so excited to be back. We've had, in the last 36 Grand Arena matches, 24 of them have been 3v3. So take a minute to gag, and then realize that of all the things that happened today, that is probably the least significant. Though, of course, I love Grand Arena. Of course. But otherwise, I also am excited. We have a new kit. Admiral Piet looks great. Someone on my Discord server called him Pierre, which I might start calling him that just because it's a really funny like autocorrect thing. But also Pierre is just kind of a fun dismissive way to mock him. But he's actually a really good kit. It's really interesting, and normally a new kit is something that I'm really excited about. I want to talk about it. But the biggest thing by far is the announcement of Galactic Legends. 2 new Galactic Legends. I was pretty sure we wouldn't see more Galactic Legends until the new year, and I was obviously wrong about that. This seems a little early, frankly. It's crazy. I don't know how to take it, honestly. A lot of people have been asking me what my thoughts are. I've been doing a few news pieces here and there, so I thought I'd kind of give a little bit of my thoughts on the matter, and after that we can look at what information we have available and kind of make some decisions based off of that, or at least get some speculation going. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. So lots to talk about for this release. My thoughts. I am surprised. I'm very surprised that we're gonna have 2 Galactic Legends. You guys have heard me being frustrated about how unequal it is to have to face more Galactic Legends than you have, and that's probably just going to be a reality for a while. It's looking like every 8 or 9 months we're going to be getting a new batch of Galactic Legends or something like that. And I don't know what to tell you guys. I can understand frustration. I know that Reddit has a lot of it going on. There's a lot of pitchforks and angst, and it's really interesting to me, actually. If you guys want to see a crazy phenomenon, go to Reddit and just look at some of the posts about people who, like by people who have quit the game like years ago, and they come out and after a big release like this, and everyone's being negative, and they're like, man, I'm so glad I quit. I'm just so glad I quit. It was the best decision ever. And it's just this very strange thing. Like, you get all these people who are like, I'm better than you because I quit. I think you guys should also quit because you'll feel happy if you quit, just like me, and I am happy. And it's like, why are you even here? If you're so happy you quit, if you can't you can't let it go, well, clearly you're not that happy about it. So I don't know. That's kind of a weird aside. Go to Reddit. We make fun of these people all the time on our Discord server. So, and if you're one of those people who quits and still watches my videos, then I don't have any problem with that. Of course, I think it makes good sense to watch my stuff. So, regardless of if you quit or not. Anyways, guys. I can understand the frustration, honestly. A lot of people are just now finally getting either their first or their second Galactic Legend. I'm just finally in a couple days I'll have my second Ultimate up for my second Galactic Legend, and I'll have been done. and I've been working on like side projects and stuff, and I'm gonna have to just stop that now. Like, I have 3 Zetas saved up, and I was gonna put them on like Mothma characters, and I can't. I have to save them for whoever the next Galactic Legend is, whoever I'm going to be working on. So that's going to be a little bit frustrating. And honestly, like the mid game people, I get it. Like, it can be really frustrating too. You maybe you don't even have a Galactic Legend, or you're about to start working on one, and it's like you feel like you can't catch up and you can't keep up, and it's just getting away from you. And I get that. My alt is in a similar position. It's like no Galactic Legends for me. I'm still working on trying to get like Malik and Jedi Luke and all that. And I guess my biggest thing though is it's like the game's more of a journey. Like, this game is you're never going to be fully caught up unless you want to spend thousands of dollars. And some people want to, and that's totally fine. Totally fine. If you do, then you should totally sign up for my Patreon, because that can contribute to your expenditures. So, anyways, I just think that this game, like, will never be caught up because it's a character collection game. We don't want to be caught up. We always want to be working on stuff, and maybe the cadence feels a little too fast. Maybe it's a little too quickly for my comfort as well, if I'm being totally honest. But at the same time, like, it gives us more options. My alt now has a really interesting situation where the first Galactic Legend that I get isn't going to necessarily be Supreme Leader Kylo or Rey. It might end up being Jedi Luke or Grandmaster Jedi Luke or whatever. It's going to be so confusing getting all these acronyms right. But old cranky face Luke, or Seep. People are calling him Seep. Sith Eternal Emperor. And then they put the P for Palpatine in there. It's kind of like people adding the A in gas, even though it's General Skywalker. People just want to add the A to be dumb, I guess. So they call it gas instead of GS. So similarly, we're going to get Seep. So that'll be interesting. But my alt is going to have an interesting situation now where I don't necessarily have to go for one of the 2 original Galactic Legends. The CG has said that these guys are gonna be similar power levels to the current ones, and I guess I kind of believe that. I don't think we're gonna get a huge amount of power creep, honestly. I think we're going to have a more diverse meta, and that is always a good thing. Well, I think it is. I don't know. Power creep has its uses, even though people use it in the pejorative, like, power creep, it's the worst thing since AIDS. And I really think that it's just not the worst thing since AIDS. It's not. It's actually the sign of a healthy game, because you need new things to help advance the game. Anyways, I think that I'm very surprised to say this. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I thought for a long time that it was going to just be total crap. I was pretty sure that I was going to hate it when they announced new Galactic Legends. The current Galactic Legends have brought me very little joy, and they still continue to bring me very little joy, despite the fact that I have 2 of them now. Life was more fun without them, frankly. And these 2 might end up being just as boring. I have no idea, but I do know that these 2 characters are a little more exciting to me. I didn't need a 3rd Rey or a 3rd Kylo, frankly. I didn't care about those characters. I don't necessarily care about a 2nd Palpatine, or really a 3rd. We're going to get a 3rd version of him, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I didn't necessarily need a 3rd version of him, and Luke seems a little soon for... like, we just got our Jedi Luke, and now we get Jedi Master Luke. Like, after all this time of waiting, like, we had Farm Boy Luke, and then we waited forever, it seemed like, and then we had Commander Luke, and it was like, okay, well, at least this Luke has a lightsaber. And then the next two, I have just, like, we waited for a long time, and then the next two come within, like, a couple months of each other. It seems a little rushed, but, I mean, Luke is, like, the second main character of the whole series, and like, it was only a matter of time till we got a fourth version of Luke. Like, we still we still have fewer Lukes than we do Chewies and Hans. So I guess I'm okay with it. And frankly, like, it's nice to continue to have a big goal. Like, I was feeling a little bit like, what's next? They haven't released anything about what's going to come next, and now we at least know Galactic Legends are coming. So we have something to work toward for the end game people. I know the mid game people, as I said, I understand your frustration. You also have to realize that a lot of end game players who do spend a lot of money, like, they want more progression. They need more projects, and this is going to give them something. So, I mean, whereas it might suck for some of the player base, some of the people playing, I also think that it is also going to end up being healthy for the game in some ways. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the information we have available, and let's try to draw some conclusions. When the Jedi Knight Luke event came out, I came up with a prediction post that kind of just, I did predict every single character that was required, I believe. It was very close anyways, and I will say right up front, I'm not going to have that level of success now. There's just too many unknown variables, but there are a lot of things that we can actually figure out just based off of this information that they have, and things to be looking at. The first thing I am going to say right off the bat is I would advise not just throwing a ton of gear on random characters right away. Yes, it's tempting. Everyone has their Gear 8 Royal Guard or whatever, and I totally get wanting to just throw gear on him. I wanted to as well. I think it's wiser to just wait for a little bit, because who knows? Who knows which character is going to end up being better or more interesting. And I get it if you have some emotional attachment to Luke or Palpatine or whatever. I've had a ton of people say, I'm definitely going for Palpatine, and I'm like, okay, like, good for you, but I'm going to wait and see what the rest of the requirements are. It doesn't cost anything to hold your gear for a couple weeks. Like, hold your gear, hold your horses, hold your children, and just wait for a little bit. Just wait and see what we're going to need. So there are a couple things though that I want to point out. So they say here that the requirements for both these characters will be released periodically like before, but within a shorter time frame. So last time we had 4 different iterations of requirements, and we got 3 characters announced, 3 characters, and then 4, and the 4th in that group was a capital ship. And I don't know if we're going to get a capital ship again this time. It seems a little crazy. Though we might, who knows, like, we might get the Executor, or Executor, I never remember how to pronounce Vader's flagship, but we might get that. I don't know what Rebel ship we'd get, though. So, anyways, we will get them in a shorter time frame, which makes sense. It says roughly every 2 weeks, so that's the same kind of cadence as before, at least. They talk about double drops, and I'm pretty sure everyone just forgot about that. No one has said anything to me about that. Like, yay, double drops. So, looking at the requirements here, guys, looking at Jedi Master Luke, the first group of requirements, we have 5 that they've given us, and I think we have enough information to draw a couple conclusions. So we have Mon Mothma and 3PO with Chewie, so 2 new release characters, no surprise there. Old Ben, Rey Jedi Training, which is nice because it's actually overlapping with different Galactic Legends. So we only, like, it's one Relic 7 character that if we have the other Galactic Legends already, we don't have to gear that person. and then we have 3PO, which a lot of people already had geared. So for the Rebels, or rather for Luke, I think it's looking pretty likely that we're going to need Rebels. And one thing I really want to point out and stress, guys, is keep in mind that this is a Galactic Legend event. This is not a hero's journey. It is not an epic confrontation, any of these things. A legendary event. This is a Galactic Legend unlock. And so what we did for the last Galactic Legends, we just basically relicked every character in the faction. That's what it was. We just relic all First Order to varying levels, relic all Resistance to varying levels, and then just add a couple random characters, call it good. I think that again, it's a Galactic Legend thing. It's going to be a faction based thing. It's not going to be about their journey. It's not going to be about first Luke started as a farm boy and he killed the Death Star, and then he killed a Wampa's arm, and then Vader took vengeance on the Wampa and took Luke's hand, and they're not going to walk us through his story. We're going to unlock Luke in as he is in Episode 8, and we're going to be using the faction that was the most foundational for him, and Jedi are frankly just not very foundational for him. He spent a lot of time pining away for Jedi, and really he spent a couple weeks with Yoda, and he spent a couple days with Old Ben, and that's it. Those are the only Jedi he spent any time with in his whole life. So I think Rebels would make most sense, and this kind of shows that value. We do have Jedi training Rey, and that does kind of point toward a story-based narrative for the Galactic Legend. I do think it's going to be Rebels, though. We have Mon Mothma, we have 3PO with Chewie, which are just random, just random characters that we don't necessarily. He doesn't necessarily have a ton of contact with. Old Ben and 3PO. I think here. Let me get it to this speculation thing. So we have all of the characters up top that are known to be required. I think we're going to get 3 iterations of 5 is my guess. The last Galactic Legend needed 13. I don't think it's a huge stretch to think we might need 15 for this, but so the top is already set in stone. The middle group here, I will be shocked out of my mind if Commander Luke and Farm Boy Luke are not a requirement at Relic 7. I will be shocked if we don't have those as requirements. And then we're probably going to get R2. He's a very important character for the Rebel faction, for Luke in general. And then I think the middle row here, Akbar and Leia makes some sense. Leia, not everyone has her relic. Why would we have a relic? That's probably something they're going to have us do. Akbar, he's a leader in the rebellion, and we can't gear the entire Rebel faction. And so the second row, or the third row here, is way more speculative, and I have no idea. But the thought is, maybe we won't have Phoenix. Phoenix had nothing to do with Luke, but Phoenix do have everything to do with the Rebel faction. Same with Jyn and Rogue One. Nothing to do with Luke, everything to do with the Rebel faction. Luke didn't have much to do with Akbar either. He didn't have anything to do with Chewie and 3PO, for that matter. He probably, who knows how much he had to do with Mothma. So Hera and Jyn as kind of leaders within the sub-factions of Rebels, I would not be surprised to see some kind of representation. Biggs, from the story standpoint, Biggs was important to Luke, so we'll see if he's part of it, Wedge as well, maybe. Cara Dune might also be part of it, not because of anything interesting narratively, but she is a new character release, and they already showed us their willingness to allow new character releases, so Mothma and Chupio and Cara Dune, not surprising at all. Cara Dune is actually would not surprise me in the least. And then Fulcrum Ahsoka, I just put that in there to make Solo mad, because he is absolutely sure that Fulcrum is not actually going to be required. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't really have a horse in this race. I would like the opportunity to put some relics on Fulcrum, I guess. But yeah. So the next, let's look at Palpatine real quick. Again, I think we're going to be looking at Empire. Palpatine is really hard to determine. Just because he didn't have a lot of time in either of the movies. Like, he was important in a couple movies, and otherwise he didn't have much interaction with anyone. And so we already have, like, Admiral Piet. Like, he never talked to Admiral Piet that we saw. Like, he probably had some contact with him, but Piet is more Vader's pet. Like, Vader should surprise no one. Royal Guard is one of the few characters he actually interacted with or said anything to in the whole series. And then Emperor Palpatine at Relic 7. Again, we have that overlap with another galactic legend, which is nice. And then Director Krennic, who he did in the lore have some interaction with, but like, he's just a high-ranking Imperial. That's all he really is. On screen, we had nothing. So here is my speculation. I hope you like my stand-in for Admiral Piet, because we don't have that character unlocked yet. We have the First Order officer standing in, though. So the top row is the already set in stone group. And then, again, we're probably not going to be... we probably don't need to gear the entire Empire faction. But I don't think it's wise. I don't think they're going to require a ton of Sith either. Even though he is technically all the Sith, I think everyone has Sith geared to a level that is probably not that great for CG from a money standpoint. Instead, we're going to get a bunch of obscure Empire characters. So I think Thrawn will absolutely be part of it. He's one of the most certain ones. I am. Veers, who knows, but he's a leader. I'm kind of been just going with the theme of, like, leaders or iconic characters within these factions. Tarkin would also shock me if we didn't have to gear him. If we have to gear Krennic but not Tarkin, there's something wrong. TIE fighter pilot and probe droid, who knows about those two, really. They do seem pretty iconic to me, though. I think Sidious will absolutely be another Relic 7 character that we have to unlock, or that we have to relic, because that's his past version. That's what happened with the last two Galactic Legends. I'll be surprised if we don't. Maul was important to him for story purposes, so who knows. And then just as random, like FU to the player base, there's Gar Saxon and Magna Guard, or Magma Trooper. I don't know what he is, but, like, may as well just throw him in there. If one of those two isn't on the list, I'll be moderately surprised. Stormtroopers are just pretty iconic within the Empire faction. And then for both of these factions, I think we're going to see we need to have Rebel Y-Wing for Luke, and Imperial TIE Bomber, because as you can see, we're still farming them. I'm farming them as quick as I can, and I'm still not very close, so I'm guessing we're going to see that. And yeah, I guess what the other piece that I wanted to discuss here, guys, real quick, is Jedi Knight Luke, and I've kind of gone back and forth in my mind about this. It's a really interesting situation, in fact. So the other Galactic Legends have all required their past selves, and there's this really interesting conundrum then. So they released Jedi Knight Luke just kind of randomly and haphazardly recently, and so he's not actually in the Journey Guide currently. So he's an exclusive character, and the whole thing about the Galactic Legends, their whole thing about it is you can unlock them whenever you meet the requirements, and you can't really meet the requirements within the spirit of which they have stated it was intended if you unlock Jedi Knight Luke through an exclusive event that only happens every like 2 or 3 or 4 months. And so, like, that kind of defeats the purpose of having an always available Galactic Legend character to be able to be working on. And I guess there's a few different parts to that, though. So first off, why did they release Jedi Luke so soon before this? Like, they knew that Galactic Legend Luke was going to be coming out soon. That they had to. That their planning cycle isn't quite that short-sighted. Like, they knew Galactic Legend Luke was coming, and they kind of just forced randomly this Jedi Knight Luke event, which I do love the kit and everything. And this should honestly put to bed all rumors of this used to being Mace Windu's kit. Like, as ridiculous and debunked as that rumor is, there's still some people who persist in that theory. I think that the two have to be linked somehow. They don't release the one character like this by accident. So my thought is, so number one, it would be inconsistent for them not to have Jedi Knight Luke as part of the requirements for Jedi Master Luke. Like, why wouldn't we have all three variations and iterations of Luke? Like, I think it would be crazy. Like, what other things would Jedi Luke be required for if not this? That being said, if Jedi Luke is required, like, that suddenly adds a huge level of commitment and requirement for Master Luke, because suddenly you have to have Wampa geared, you have to have Hermit Yoda, all this stuff, which, I mean, maybe that by itself means that it's not going to be part of it. On the other hand, I do think that it's also inconsistent of them to, if they do include Jedi Knight Luke, because, like I said before, they can't necessarily release a character that is not in the Journey Guide. They can't release a character in the Journey Guide for Galactic Legends that relies on a character with an exclusive release. So, I mean, my speculation is maybe they'll actually just add Jedi Luke to the Journey Guide early, and there was actually a data mine that was talking about that a little bit ago. People just thought that it was like a bug or something, that didn't end up coming to fruition, but maybe that's actually what the intention was. So we'll see with that. I'll be very interested to see. I have Jedi Luke at Relic 7, so in a way I would like him to be on there just for personal reasons. It also makes more sense, and in a year, once he is on that Journey Guide, it would make more sense to me. But whatever. It's just speculation, and I'm just kind of laying out what my thoughts are. If I had to choose, I would say that yes, he is going to be required. If I just had to guess, I think he'll be part of the requirements, but we'll see. I could easily be wrong. So, the last piece of speculation that I want to get into is people are going to want to know, which character should I get? I'm going to get that question 8 million times, and I'm totally fine with people asking it. And the answer is nobody knows. CG didn't know who was going to be better between Rey and Supreme Leader Kylo. They kept adding new awesome things to Kylo's kit after he was released, because he was clearly inferior to Rey initially, and now he's superior to Rey. So CG didn't know. How am I supposed to know? I will offer these 2 pointers though. Jedi Luke, or Master Luke, the only things he ever did in the movie was evade and not get hit. Like, that's what he did. He drank some gross milk, and he avoided getting hit with, is he gonna have an ability called like Summon Stick? What did he do? Like, he made wry comments and, shook his head at Rey all the time and ignored R2-D2, and then he did his cool force projection ability, which was also not getting hit. Like, all he did was delay tactics, and that's fine. I actually ended up liking a lot of those scenes, but what we're going to get from him is going to be very similar in for light side. I think like it would be totally against the spirit of that character if he just went in with his laser sword that he's so disdainful of and like started like killing things. Like maybe he'll like set trees on fire or something. I don't know, but really what he's going to end up doing is making his team super resilient. That's what he's going to do. And so he's going to be like Rey. He's going to make it impossible to kill his team. Palpatine, on the other hand, was pretty ineffectual in the movies. He shot a ton of lightning at a bunch of ships that killed 0 things. Like he didn't kill anything at all. Yeah. So, like, that being said, my frustrations with that character aside, he's going to be pure offense. He's going to be the Supreme Leader Kylo. He doesn't care about his followers getting destroyed. He doesn't care about his people. He's like just like Supreme Leader Kylo. He's going to be pure offense, and that appeals to me a lot more. I don't know if he's going to end up being more powerful than Luke or either of the other Galactic Legends, but I do know that appeals to me. That playstyle of let's just kill things is way more appealing than it's always been so off-putting, like watching Barriss do her thing. Like, yes, I understand she has a place in the game. That's fine. Rey is the most boring character in the world. She's like Jolie and Barriss and any number of other super resilient, crazy characters, all just bunched into one, and that's what Luke's going to be. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm totally wrong and off base, but I think that if you have a certain playstyle and preference, you might lean toward one or the other. One's going to be healing and preserving, just like the light side trope is, and the other is just going to be killing and destroying and having fun with mayhem. So, anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. I thank you for watching. I know that this kind of went a little long. I had a lot to say about it, apparently. So, anyways, once again, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.